And I'm back with a new plugin versus hardware. Today I've got the UREI 1178 compressor for you, which is most commonly known as the stereo version of the 1176. It's made by a company called UREI. Now you might know that as Universal Audio. They still make the 1176, they don't make the 1178 anymore, but it is really one of my favorite pieces. And I've tried to get my hands on the best emulation for it. And as far as I know, there is only one plugin that stays true to the actual 1178, and that is called the Pulsar 1178. So that is going to be the plugin that we are going to compare the hardware to. Before we dive into the specs and the comparison, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and comments are always appreciated. Okay, so what exactly is a UREI 1178? As I said earlier, it is considered to be a stereo version of the 1176. Now, you may know that there are quite some revisions to that 1176. The 1178 is closest to the revision H, which is the last revision, and that is, besides the faceplate, basically supposed to be a revision F or a revision G of the 1176. The 1178 is a FET style compressor that stands for Field Effect Transistor, which makes it really fast and allows you to have an attack of anywhere between 20 microseconds and 800 microseconds, which is 0.8 milliseconds. To put that into contrast, the fixed attack time on an LA2A is 10 milliseconds. So this thing is super fast. The release can be set anywhere between 50 milliseconds and 1.1 seconds, and the ratios you can choose between are 4, 8, 12, 20, and it has a famous all buttons in mode. It has a fixed threshold, so that means you turn up the input gain to get your signal over the threshold, and then you use the output gain to dial it back to a healthy gain stage level. That is it for the hardware 1178. So let's dive into Pro Tools, where I pulled up the Pulsar 1178 plugin, which looks like a pretty spot-on emulation of the vintage 1178 I've got behind me, but then with some very fancy modern digital bells and whistles added to it. Okay, so what features does the 1178 by Pulsar give us? It has the same input and output controls. It has a left, right, and mid side control, so that is pretty different from what the hardware unit gives us. We've got attack and release, but that is already a big difference because it has independent attack and release. So you can actually unlink these attack and release times and use it as two mono units, which is different from the hardware unit where you always have a shared attack and release. We've got the same ratios as the 1178. We've got the same nice vintage VU meters as the hardware unit. And then next to that, where there is metering options on the hardware 1178, they've introduced saturation styles. So we've got off, which I've set it to. We've got a tape saturation, triode, tube saturation, a warm saturation, and a clipping saturation. So that gives you a lot of options. And we've got a mix button, which you will also not find on the actual hardware unit. Then on top here, we've got their advanced metering section, which gives you peak meters, gain reduction meters, and also a time-based gain reduction display, so you can see what the compression is actually doing to your transients. Next to that, it has a built-in sidechain EQ, which that guy definitely does not have. In that sidechain section, you can choose your sidechain source to be internal or external. You can even adjust the gain on the sidechain signal, and it also has something called look-ahead latency, which is very interesting in this case because you can have the normal look-ahead like you always have it, that goes up to 20 milliseconds, but you can also go the other way and delay it up to 10 milliseconds to add onto your attack time, so you can have an attack time of up to 10.8 milliseconds. And the last feature I want to go over is that it also has oversampling, so it has up to 8 times of oversampling built in. Okay, that is enough for all the specs and everything. We really want to hear what it sounds like, so let's get going with the comparison. Unlike other videos in this series, this is going to be a complete blind test. So I will not be giving my verdict. I will also not include which is which. one signal will be signal A, the other signal will be signal B. And if you really want to know which one is the plugin and which is the hardware, head over to my Discord because I will be revealing which is which over there. The first few files we're gonna put to the test are from the track Sweet Lady by Stephen Charlot. This track is from his latest EP that I mixed called Occasional Affection. I'll leave a link down below so you can check it out if you want. Alright, so let's start with the snare. Another source I love the 1178 on is an entire drum bus, so let's route these drums through the 1178. I think that sounds pretty cool. Let's go ahead and see what this thing can do on bass. Alright, so we lightly touched the drums and the bass, but how about that all buttons in mode? Wow, I have to say that sounds pretty cool. You can get a lot of energy out of this compressor with the all buttons in mode. I think it might be time for some vocals. I've pulled up the track Don't Get Obsessed with a Stranger by Dafne Adriana. I've got her lead vocal and her instrumental so we can see how that 1178 works on her lead vocal.
Mama said don't get obsessed with a stranger. Don't understand what it is that you see. Mama said don't get obsessed with a stranger. Don't understand what it is that you see. Mama said don't get obsessed with a stranger. Don't understand what it is that you see.
And that were all the files of this plugin versus hardware. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below telling me which hardware piece I should compare to which plugin in the next video. And don't forget to head over to my Discord to see which is the plugin and which is the hardware. That was it for me. I'll see you in the next one. Later!